everybody. Welcome to our podcast, Passage to Your Heart. We're here for another week. My name is Davina.
And I am Erica.
We hope you're all doing well. And we are really excited for this podcast. It's one that we've had many conversations about, and we find it to be very interesting. We hope you do as well. So today's subject will be femininity versus masculinity. Also, it could be considered beta versus alpha, right? Alpha versus beta. And if any of you have ever done research, there's so much information out there. So we just want to bring you along as we chat and share our thoughts about, the qualities and what we consider ourselves to be, maybe, people in our lives and how it affects us, and it should be interesting.
It is.
For sure interesting. So, as always, we'll go ahead and pull the daily or weekly tarot card. And like I mentioned last podcast, I like to do it before the podcast just so that I can really do a meditation and give you all out there a little more guidance to what you can expect for the week. And let's start with a quick protection meditation. And then I will share with you the card that I pulled. So, higher power, guardian angels, spirit guides, please protect me, my family, Erica, her family, all the listeners out there, and keep negative energies or entities away, and help us be peaceful and guide us to any information we may need for the upcoming week. Thank you. So, funny enough, the card that I pulled for this week is the Empress.
Huh?
It was not rigged. I did not pull it because of the subject of this podcast, but it just so happens that the Empress, it's connected to femininity and elegance, sensuality, fertility, creativity, expression, nurturing. So I just found it very coincidental that we pulled that card for this week because, I think us chatting and having this podcast really does allow for us to connect to our femininity. And do you feel the same?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that's part of the reason why I like it. Not only because I love chatting with you, but it does, like I said in the last podcast, it really makes me feel grounded and balanced, which, whether you're male or female or in between, I think it's really important to realize that we all have a bit of masculinity, a bit of femininity in who we are. And I think there's a scale there where you range. Either you're more masculine or more feminine, or alpha beta. But what this card is really trying to tell us for this next week is for us to connect to our feminine side. Whether it's our taste, touch, sound, smell, sight, whatever sense you can, do something that allows you to just hone in on that feminine side that you have. And again, you can be male, but hone in on that. And I think you'll find that you'll have a really very pleasant week if you do tap into that side. So it's a good card for this week.
Better than last week's.
Yeah. So, by the way, I hope you all made it through last week. I did have some challenges of my own, so I can say that I'm over the hurdle now. And I did actually utilize my meditation area here because I had some rough times last week.
That's funny because with your card, I took extra time, so I knew, okay, I have a gathering on Friday, to be exact. So I'm like, okay, I need to start preparing since Monday, Tuesday, just to make sure everything was okay. So I didn't want to be in a rush because I know if I'm in a rush, Yeah, that's not good.
And how would you say your week? Would you say that it really helped out? Would you say that
I absolutely, yes, because I knew I didn't want to be. If I feel rushed, I get in a bad mood, and I don't enjoy the process anymore. And it's like, oh my gosh, my intention was this, and I wanted to feel this way, but because now I'm rushed, I like feel shitty, and I don't want to do it anymore, and it took away the fun from it.
Yeah, yeah.
So the fact that I did take your advice and I took my time, I actually wasn't rushed. I was fine. I mean, I didn't get to do absolutely everything. Too, I also wasn't as, I don't want to say controlling, but I didn't have an expectation, and I just whatever I'm able to do and whatever I can do is what I'm gonna do. So yeah, so it turned out really well. It did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know I can say for myself, I'm in the same boat. I hate being rushed. I hate being in a hurry. So
Yes.
especially as we're new moms or newer moms. My son is 3 years old, but I still consider myself a new mom because he's my one and only child. So I always try to allow myself extra time, and not just 15 minutes. I like to give myself an extra hour on top of, what I know it takes me to get dressed. So in a perfect day would be 2 hours to get dressed and be in the car heading out to where I need to go. And my partner is the opposite. He likes to wait until the last minute, and we tend to have battles there because it's like, oh, why are you getting dressed already? We have 2 hours still. And I have to remind him it takes a good 2 hours if I don't want to be rushed. So
I wonder what's funny, tapping into that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm just speculating here, but I know in my relationship, my husband, he works way better if he has pressure.
Okay.
So he needs to have pressure, like last minute, in order for him to jump into action. And I'm more, I need to space myself so I'm not rushed. So I'm wondering if that's like a masculine, feminine energy as well, to where we like to pace ourselves, and they are more like, have to fire up their hoo-has in order to jump into action. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I'm looking here at these notes that I took to see if there's something that kind of says that, but I didn't find anything that was specific, but that makes complete sense. I'm sure that's the case. I mean, and something interesting, I have thought about this many, many, many times. And for those of you who like astrology but don't really know the ins and outs of it, there are 6 masculine signs and 6 feminine signs. It doesn't necessarily mean, 100% that person, if they're a Libra or Taurus, that they're masculine or feminine, but they tend to be in those categories. And or when you're pulling your tarot cards, a lot of them are geared towards or are connected to a specific astrology sign, and that's how you know whether it's feminine or masculine energy behind it. Like if you're referring to a male or female in your reading. So just a quick, if I can just go through this list. So we have Aries, Gemini, Leo, Libra, Sagittarius, and Aquarius, masculine. I'm a Libra.
Wow.
Feminine signs are Taurus, Cancer, Virgo, Scorpio, Capricorn, and Pisces.
Oh, wow. I'm a feminine energy.
Yeah. And I would say that does go with you. Because, I mean, for you, what I've noticed is it's easy for you to jump in and out of a masculine role and a feminine role, but I see you more at peace when you're in your feminine.
Absolutely. I don't like to be in the masculine role. I'm uncomfortable being in the masculine role. Not to say that I like to be stumped all over, because a lot of people tend to have a misconception when you say feminine. It is passive, but you're okay with being like second in command or being the vice president, if you want to say. And I prefer that. I don't like to be the president. I don't like to be the one making decisions. I don't like to be the one leading. I do not. I feel very uncomfortable. If I have to, I will. But if you've noticed, like in the past when I've had to be in those roles, I'm okay with it in a certain amount of time. But then if I have to be there for a period of time, then I start being unhappy, and then I start not feeling fulfilled, and then all these negative energy. Yes, because it's very draining, because I have to work that extra hard to stay in that role, because that's not naturally who I am.
Right. Yeah. And I would say the funny thing for me is, I don't know if it has to do with, Libra, the scales, we're very 50-50, very impartial. But I would say, as we've discussed before, when I'm at work, in my work environment, I tend to be very masculine, and I enjoy it. When I'm at home, I'm 50-50, because I do enjoy having, my partner step up and make decisions, or, because I'm indecisive. I'm Libra to the core, I would say. Yeah. Very indecisive. Even something as simple as, Erica, where should we go eat? Or what are you going to get? Yeah. Can you give me 30 minutes? So that is part of me, and I've owned it, and, I try to get better at it. Like, for example, if I know we're going to go eat, I start Googling, okay, what restaurants are around me, so we can kind of decide before we're actually
something jumps.
Yeah, but that has happened before. There have been times where it's like, driving around, oh, what do you want? I don't know. We literally make a circle around the city, and then end up where we started. But I also like to have a little control. If I have no control, or very little control, I would say I feel uncomfortable. Yeah, I really do.
Knowing you, from what I've seen in the past, you need to have more. Yeah. Like, if we are comparing you and I would be the more passive, and you would be the more masculine in that sense, because you're okay in those positions where I'm not. Yeah.
And the thing is, what I can say, I mean, maybe I'm biased because it's me, but I feel like I do come from a fair approach. Like, I would never say, you're doing this because I want you to do this. No. That's not my intention. It's more like, well, I've done the research, or, it would be best if we do it this way. And it's not saying I'm not open for discussion. If my partner comes to me and says, well, I really don't think we should do that because X, Y, and Z. Oh, okay. Well, he did the research. He knows what he's doing. And okay, let's discuss, So it's not like I'm completely, I want to completely be in control. I have some balance there.
Yeah, absolutely. If anything, you're like the most fairest person, and you're very unbiased, even in your own relationships. I mean, we all have our little blinders to ourselves, but that's something that I admire of you. And I've always told you, where it's like, it's awesome how you are very open, and you don't just get stuck on one way, and you're very, very neutral, and you're willing to see more than what you're seeing, and you don't get defensive, and you don't get any type of way. So that's very admirable, because you are very good-hearted, open-hearted, to where it's like, you're not mean in any way.
Like, oh no,
I just want peace. How can we figure out how to have peace?
And what's best for everybody?
Exactly.
It's not just about me. It's not just about you. What is the best for everyone?
You're just selfish. No, you're not selfish at all.
Yeah. No, I try not to be. So thank you for that, because it is something I've worked on. I know when I was younger, looking back, it did not come out the right way. So I would say, if you look at me, when I was, let's just say 15, 16, I was a little more aggressive or assertive. I noticed that in myself, and I didn't like it. So I made changes, conscious changes to, change my thought pattern, my reaction pattern. So it's something I really have worked on. It's not like it's just happened one day. It's that I noticed that I did not like that quality. Some of you out there may like that quality, and that's perfectly fine. We all have different personalities, but for me, I felt like I didn't want to be unfair, and I didn't want to react out of emotion. So I made that decision to change, how I communicated and how I reacted to certain.
Well, that's very intuitive of you at 15, 16 to notice that and change it. I mean, 15, 16, I wasn't even thinking. I think I was just thinking of myself at that point.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I was very selfless and it was just about me and what I wanted. So that's a very, very intuitive.
And not to say that I have it all figured out, because I don't. I know if you catch me on, something that I feel very offended by, which takes a lot. So you would have had to do something very, very offensive to myself or somebody that I love. I still am trying to get that under control, because I can become very agitated or upset at a quick moment. And
really? I've
again,
never seen that from you.
Well, because you've never done anything to me.
I should test it.
And record it and put it online.
So this is
Yeah. No, I mean, we have a great relationship, so I've never felt like you've done anything at all to, hurt me or, with bad intentions. So of course, you'll never see that side, It's like, I would say, more geared towards people who I know are doing it at not a good place, you know, or really trying to hurt myself or my family, So, but yeah, so there you go. So figure out which one you are, masculine, feminine, and maybe that can be your starting point. But I know there were some quizzes out there that you came across. I found one very interesting. I think it's on like Psycho, which is funny, but it means like short for psychology. Psychotest.com.
I don't think you want to take that.
Are you a psycho? No, no. It was short for like psychology. I know that. I did take a test yesterday. I want to say yesterday, just to see where I ranked. And it ranked me as indifferent. So that's what I would say is somewhere around the middle, which I completely agree with. Because I would say that, there are some feminine qualities to me, but at the same time, masculine qualities. So I would say 100% that I rank somewhere in the middle.
Do you remember, because we've taken these tests, there's one from Dr. Pat Allen that I went to a seminar and in LA, and she's well known everywhere. She's a psychologist and she's done a lot of work. She's been in, I think she's like 82 or 84 now, and she's still practicing. Yes. And she's been, they call her the relationship doctor because she's done a lot of strides on when it comes to relationship, the masculine and feminine. She talks a lot about that. So I know this was back in the, what I say, like 7 years back. I went there and I came back and I'm like, take this test. Oh my gosh, it's so crazy.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, I haven't taken the test again. I should, and I'm going to see, I'm interested and curious to see what that result is going to be, because back then I rated feminine, but now that I'm older, have we talked in the last podcast that we change as we grow and our needs and wants are different. So I wonder if I'm still in that category or if something has changed. So that is, do you remember what yours was back then? It wasn't indifferent.
I know it was alpha beta, right?
Yeah. Do you remember what it was?
I know that I have it written down somewhere. I don't remember what I was.
I think you were alpha and I was beta. Because then I was like, oh my God. That's it. Yeah. And that,
Well, I actually have the questions here. So we can kind of go through some of them just so our listeners know what kind of questions they ask. So when you're trying to determine whether you're alpha or beta, some of the questions, question 1, when you send an email, do you start with a salutation and end with a closing, or do you just convey your message? So I think if you do start with a salutation, hello, I hope you're well, etc., and close with "thank you, have a great day," whatever your salutation would be. That's considered more of a feminine quality because it's very masculine to just
Get to the point.
get to the point. So you can rate yourself there.
Even in text nowadays, because now we don't send emails to anybody but just work, if you really think about it, business wise.
Yeah.
And you have that etiquette, that work etiquette.
Well, funny that you say that, but if I reach out to somebody by text and it's not just a "hey, how are you doing?" if it's more
wrong.
like, huh?
It feels wrong to me.
Yeah. So I do say, "Hi, I hope you're well," and then close with, "Okay, thank you."
You have a good day.
Yeah, have a good day. Right. And I know we've done that to each other whenever we've gone, a good little time without texting. But for sure, email. I always start with a salutation and and close.
Uh-huh.
So I feel like that's professional though. So I don't know how to take that. But even like I said, even during with text, if I'm talking to somebody or texting somebody that I haven't talked to in a long time, I will say, "Hi, how are you?" Start off with not a professional salutation, but "Hi, I hope you're well." Always.
Or good morning.
Yeah, good
or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I would say, I guess I could rate myself on this now. You want me to jot down yours as well?
Sure.
Okay. So Davina, I would say F equals F. Okay. So question 2. When you first meet with someone, do you chit chat or get down to business?
Chit chat.
Yep. Chit chat. 100%. How's the weather? Oh, how's, even if I may notice something in their office, like I'm thinking of work again.
Yes.
But because I've been enclosed in my house, so all I have to reference is work. But even if we go to a restaurant, we always chat with the
host.
I wanted to say waitress, but I know that's not.
A hostess.
The server. Yeah, we always chit chat. So I would say feminine for me and feminine for you, right?
I think I'm still feminine, seriously.
So unless you don't like somebody.
That's a different story. You're trying to get away from the situation as quickly as you can.
Okay, so when holding a meeting, do you offer people food and beverages or just attend to the matter at hand?
Well, it all depends. If we are talking about meeting at home, of course, even when somebody comes over, would you like some water? Would you like something to eat? Would you like a snack? I'm always offering stuff.
Yeah.
Versus if you're at work, I don't think anybody does that. I don't think, because it's work.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I think there have been a couple people at work, and they are male, if I'm remembering correctly. And maybe they don't necessarily say, "Would you like a water? Let me go grab you one." But they say, "Oh, are you good? Do you need to take, a water break before we start?" Or so they are very attentive like that. So I could see that being the masculine stepping out and instead of just offering, "Oh, can I grab you a bottle of water? Like, you need to go grab a," So they're still offering in some way. Allow you to get your water. Okay. So when considering job opportunities, what is your priority? Money and benefits or the quality of the relationship?
I would say the quality of the relationship, because if I'm not happy, I'm not going to work there. Nope.
Right. And that's something that would have changed for me, I think, because I think in the past, it was like, well, how much money am I going to make? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? But now it is about relationships, I would say, 100%, because like you're at work most of your day. So if you're with assholes, excuse my language, you're not going to be happy. I would much rather, take a pay cut than to be miserable like that.
Mhm.
I agree with that one. So we're both feminine on that one, I would say. Okay. When speaking on the phone, do you first want to connect with the person on the other line or find out what they want?
Of course, connect.
Yep.
Connection.
It's kind of the same as the one above with
Yeah.
and I would
Yeah.
say. Okay. When there's a crisis in your life, do you first react emotionally or do you jump to take action?
I actually have had circumstances and I actually jump into action.
Yeah.
And then I allow my emotional to come in.
Yeah. Which is funny because, I mean, I have your answers here because you gave me a copy.
Is it the same?
I have. It's the same one you gave me. So I have the answers written here. Yeah, you've actually answered the same
Oh my
with that
God.
one. Yeah. And I would say, I think I react emotionally.
Yeah.
hmm I don't know if it is because of these weird times, but I would say, um, my patience level is kind of down. I would say I find that I don't have as much patience as I used to, and if you talk to my partner, he'll agree, I'm sure. But I am quick to react emotionally.
Oh yeah.
So,
But maybe circumstances. I mean, we're finding ourselves in very weird circumstances and being at home so much.
yeah,
Maybe that's what's causing it. But naturally, maybe you are different.
I think I am emotional though.
You are
I'm
emotional.
honest. I mean, I don't know why I connected to being bad because it's not bad for
No,
me.
it's not. Mm-mm.
But I think I am very emotional. But funny enough, if I think about work, I'm not as emotional. It's just like, oh, that's that person, or I already know who he is or she is, you know. So I don't, which that would be my masculine.
Exactly.
If you're at home, I would say I am very emotional. Okay, so for me, I would say F, and for you, you said masculine?
Yeah, I'm masculine actually in that area.
Okay. On days off, do you still seem to be really productive and overschedule errands, or do you lie around the house?
I am not productive at all, and I just lie around. There's no way you can get me to do anything when I don't feel like doing it.
Oh
No.
my God. Your answer hasn't changed. That was the same answer.
I'm happy that I'm the same person in a way.
Yeah. And for me, I tend to procrastinate until the weekend to do things because I don't know if it is because I work long hours and especially now with my son, it's like, do I want to be rushed? Again, the rushed, hurry up and clock out of work and then go do what I have to do, get him dressed, pack his stuff. By that time, it could be 6, 7 at night, and for me, that's late because we still have dinner to make, we still have to get ready for the next day. So I prefer to push everything to the weekend that I can. So on the weekend, I do find myself, with appointments or taking care of stuff that could.
Well, if you really think about it, it's like what's more important right now. I mean, that's something that we've talked also in the past where it's like, if I don't do the dishes or if I don't do X, Y, and Z right now, does it really matter? Is it really going to hurt somebody? Is it really, what is more important? Spending that few half hour as it is, you're at work all the time, and spending that quality time with your son and family versus giving that attention to something that eventually will get done. I mean, to each their own, but I that's where you start putting things into perspective, and each person has their own limitations and
it's true. And I think I've learned that I need that balance as well. I can't be rushed every day. I already feel overwhelmed with work, and then I don't have that downtime that I did when I was going into the office because I'm working from home. So immediately I have my son waiting for me to clock out. And once I clock out, he has this little dance he does. He goes, yay, yay, yay.
Oh,
How
cute.
So he's waiting for me. So I have to immediately switch over to mom mode.
Yeah.
Whereas when I was going to the office, at least my drive home would allow me a little bit of decompression, you know, and it took 30 minutes to get home. So yeah, I'd be interested to retake this test after everything goes back to normal when it does. So I overschedule errands on the weekend, and you say you lie around the house, right?
Yeah. If I'm unproductive and if I don't feel like doing anything, I won't. Yeah. You know, if I'm not feeling it, nothing's gonna get done. I have to feel like I want to do something in order.
So funny enough, here on this sheet, it looks like you wrote an F before that question, and you said you like lying around the house. So you rated yourself as feminine on that. So lying around the house is feminine, and taking care of stuff is masculine. So I would be masculine for that one, and you would be feminine for that one. And then, if someone upsets you, do you let them know right away, or do you withdraw and lick your wounds?
I withdraw and lick my wounds. I'm trying to get better at that because communication is the key. However, I do know, even if I let them know, I need to take time to myself, process my feelings, because if I say I'm right there and then, I'm going to be hurtful, or I'm going to say things and we can't take those back. So I have to give myself to grieve and go through my emotional process before letting them know, and then coming to that person, you know what you did the other day really hurt my feelings, and this is why. So I would really appreciate it. Stop.
Yeah, I would say I do as well. I withdraw and lick my wounds first. I mean, that doesn't mean I'm crying in the corner, but withdraw and kind of assess the situation. Am I overreacting? Am I emotional right now? Or is this just cause to be upset?
Exactly.
So I do go through those.
Okay, and then you call your friend Davina and you say, guess what happened? Do you think I overreacted?
Should I smack him or no? Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't promote violence, everyone. Okay, so we'll do one more. I mean, there's 16 total, but I think we can get a good estimate or look at where we rate so far. So actually we need two more. This is question 9. When you are part of a committee or team and feel you have a good idea that the leader won't like, do you share it or let the leader make the decisions?
I don't know, because now I would say that I would, even though I know they're going to say no, I still have to voice it, because then if I don't voice it, then I'm going to feel like I should have said something, and then I'm going to be like,
Right. I was about to say the same thing. I mean, I would voice it, but if they didn't go with it and they're my, I don't know, I'm thinking of work again, but if it's like my boss was like, oh, no, we don't want to do that, I wouldn't get hurt. I would just say, okay, there's something better. But I would also feel like I have to voice it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if it's something I'm knowledgeable about. But if not.
Or even if in a relationship, I know he's not going to want to go there, but I'm still going to mention it.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Very, very, very true.
I don't know. Yeah, that's
I know he's not going to want to eat hamburgers, but should I mention it? No, I'm just kidding. Well, I guess it could be as small as that.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we're both alpha, male, masculine in that sense, because a feminine or a beta quality is to kind of go with the flow and let things happen and let somebody else make the decisions. Okay, so this is the last one. Do you love providing information and advice?
Oh, yes.
Me
That's
too.
a masculine thing to do. But it depends. For example, with us, with my friends or sisters or whatever, I love to give ideas, and I mean, I tend to do it sometimes too. I don't know. I guess I do.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I also love it, I would say. Not saying that like I have the best advice out there, but I mean, I always draw from within, well, my opinion or in my experience. And also too, because I like hearing about other people's stuff as well, because I think that a lot of times, especially people who trust each other, you can really get a bigger picture than what you're thinking about. Sometimes we are in our feelings, or we may be upset about something and we don't think about how the other person is feeling. So it's like, I think it's good for me, and it may be helpful for the other person. So I love hearing about giving advice or getting advice.
Yeah.
Also giving information. I've always said I think I would be a good teacher, or because I do like giving information. Okay, so we're both masculine in that one.
Did it say what it was before?
For you, no. You wrote A.
Alpha.
On the side. Yeah, so you said A.
No, okay.
So, if I can tally this up. For you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 6 feminine.
Okay.
And let me just make sure that adds up, because there's a bunch of letters written on here. And then there is 1, 2, 3. How can that be? That's only 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5.
As it is.
Is that right? Okay, let me count how many M's you have. So for you have 1, 2, 3, 4 M's. So yeah, that's right.
There's 6
F, 4 M's.
Oh my gosh.
So you lean towards feminine. For me, I'm just going to quickly go through and see how many M's I have. I think that's better. 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
3 M's. Are you sure about
that? You wrote them.
1. Yeah, that's right. 2, 3. So I would have 3 M's and 7 F's.
So as you can see, I mean, even though you did that other test, and it was neutral, it just depends on the circumstances, situation.
For sure.
And I guess in the masculine and feminine, if we're talking about that, as long as there are balance between it, now we're talking about an intimate relationship, because at work is one thing. That's what we talked about a little bit on our last podcast, where equality works at work, because if you really think about it, when we go to work, we're all equal, because for one, it's the law. They cannot discriminate based on gender, race, and all that stuff. So in essence, working now in the world we live in, going to work, you go to a neutral place, so to speak, because they took out what is the feminine and the masculine energy out of that environment, because it's the law, so everybody, it definitely, and now so everybody's in the same playing field, so there's equality. What happens though, when you're trying to go into an intimate romantic relationship, and us female or even masculine, if they want to be female, they try to take that same energy home with their intimate relationship, and they want things to be equal, but it doesn't work there anymore because you have the feminine and you have the masculine energy, and there's opposites. Now, equality, and if you are hounding for equality or if you're nagging for equality, it's only gonna drain the relationship because it's never gonna happen. And I don't know if you remember, I used to have such a tough time with that specific topic. Why can't things be equal? I don't get it. Just because I'm a feminine person doesn't mean I have to do more. Or just because I'm a masculine, if you choose to be masculine, doesn't mean that I have to do X, Y, and Z. You know, why can't things be equal? I don't get it. So now, and because I reread the book, it's calling How to Get to I Do. I mean, this is more for somebody that's trying to get into a relationship, and that's from Dr. Patricia Allen. And and there was some things that I guess didn't apply at that time, or things that didn't really resonate with me, and that one was a big one. Like, I cannot equal. Why do I have to accept not equality? You know. But now that I read it, it's like, okay, it makes sense. You know. So you cannot translate equality into a relationship because opposite attracts. So if you want to be attractive and vice versa to your intimate partner, there has to be that is it polarity? Is that the correct word? Where polarity. Like to where either if you want to be the masculine, then he has to be the feminine energy, and if he's the masculine and you want to be the feminine, then you have to be the receptive, the more I don't want to say docile, but it's the one that the vice president, the one that follows, not necessarily leads. So so that's why everything is a little jumbled, and that's why there's a lot of relationship issues, because now we are forced, women who do want to be indoor feminine are pushed having to go to work. They have their masculine hat on, and then they have to go home and then try to do the same thing, and it clashes.
Yeah, very true. And I remember you gave me that advice. I actually have your notes here from that too.
I hope you can understand my chicken scratch.
You wrote down in asterisks, with asterisks there, relationships are not fair. How much is it worth it to me?
Yes.
So, and I do remember that conversation because, thank you, you actually enlightened me, and something clicked in my head that day where it's like, it's true. If I want to continue struggling from relationship to relationship to relationship, because it's always going to be the same unless, you know, I completely switch
energies.
Exactly. Or I find somebody who is more beta, you know, in the relationship. I'm always going to run into this situation. So one, how much is this current relationship worth to me? And two, I have to come to terms with it's not going to be fair. Especially, I would say, us mothers, we do put in extra daily. And at least, I mean, I don't want to offend my partner or say he doesn't do anything, but you know, for him to change a couple diapers a day or pull-ups, or, you know, take our son to the toilet a couple times a day, it's like, oh, I helped out today, when it's like all the rest of the day, you know. And it's like, I don't want to discourage him from, and we even discussed this, we hate saying helping out.
Yes.
This shouldn't be helping out. It's like, you know, it's doing your part in the relationship. Yeah. I still have an issue with that. It's like, I remember.
That must be maybe that's the masculine side of us. Who knows? But it's like, if we both created this living being, or if we both bought this house, if we both live here, if we both ate at this table, you know, that goes back. Why is it not fair? Why isn't it 50-50? I went to work. You went to work, 50-50. You know what I mean? So where's that balance? Like, where do you find that balance? And sometimes, to be honest, it is a struggle because you fall back into like, we're here again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's frustrating, I would say. Yes. But I have kind of come to terms with the fact that it's not going to be fair. So even though I may, get inside my head very frustrated, maybe not saying the best words about the other person in my head, I like that I always come back to that message. It's not going to be fair.
So, and a lot of people are going to disagree, or they're going to feel a certain way about it. And it's like, why not? And from my understanding, from what you've experienced, it just not, the only resolution to that is either to accept it or reject it. Right. If you accept it, you accept it. Just like you've given an example, rejecting it means then you're not going to be in that relationship. Go find yourself somebody else that's more beta, more a certain way. Somebody that gives you that polarity. Is that what I used earlier? Okay. So that's going to be your opposite in that situation.
Complement that.
Yeah. So you always have to look for the opposite of what you want and what you feel comfortable and what you. So that's why it's so important since the beginning for you to ask yourself this question. And if I may, I have when you're unsure, where do I fall, masculine or feminine energy? What you can do is ask yourself, what is my greatest need? So what's your greatest need? To be cherished for my feelings or respected for my thoughts? Based on your answer, and either one is correct. It's whatever you feel more comfortable. Yeah. And you have to be honest with yourself. If you want to be cherished for your feelings, then that is more of the feminine energy. If you want to be respected for your thoughts, that's more of the masculine energy, so you feel more comfortable. So you can gauge yourself by that, like, okay, I have more of these tendencies, then how do I create that intimate relationship so we're both in sync and we're flowing without those hiccups?
Very true. Very true. And
did I cut you off? I'm sorry.
No.
Okay.
Thank you for that. I think as well, it's not saying that you should let somebody run all over you. That's not the message at all. No. But it's like, if first of all, you have to have a conversation with your partner, and you have to make a list of your musts and what was it? Do's and don'ts, or what was it? It was like your, not deal breakers. Is it deal breakers?
Deal breakers.
Your deal breakers and what you need in that relationship. They should do the same. You guys should have a conversation about what you feel that you can give and what that you feel like you can't give. If my partner said, I need you to be a size 0 all the time, or else, I'm not attracted. Well, for me personally, that's not something it would be very hard for me to maintain that. As it is, I struggle with that. So I feel like I would always be resentful if I'm like, I can't eat that, but there he is pigging out, I would be very resentful if I had that expectation put on me. Now, if it's, if it was something maybe like, I would like for you to dress up and put a little makeup on, I find that very attractive. That I can work with, maybe it's because I like doing it anyway, but, so it really is for you. Like you said, your personal do's and don'ts. You can give and feel like you can give, and the same for them.
Yeah, and it's very important to be very clear, because jumping back and forth from masculine and feminine, it just creates confusion for everybody, and it just drains the other person in the relationship, and just eventually the relationship will just break and dissolve because it's confusing. Now imagine somebody being yes, no, the next day yes, no, so that it's like, oh, geez, can you make up your mind?
Yeah.
So
it's very confusing.
Yeah, so it is very, and that takes a lot of work to do and go like into your inner self and know exactly who you are. That's why it's so important for you to know yourself and do the work for yourself in order before, if you're in a relationship now, you can still do it.
Oh yeah.
Because I started this when I was in how long were we married by then? Like 7 or 8 years. And I started doing the work then, you know what I mean? So it's like, it doesn't matter if you're in or if you're out, as long as you start at one point and you are becoming aware of what your needs are, it's more empowering. And a lot of people think like you said, it doesn't mean you're going to be run or stepped all over. No, it's very empowering to know what you like and what you don't like. And I mean, there's ways to to convey your message to your masculine man. And vice versa, if you're a woman that wants to be in your masculine, there's ways to convey your message to your feminine man. So there's just ways of just learning how to do it. So, for example, what is feminine energy? You know, we ask ourselves, what is it? So receiving, nurturing, tenderness, gentleness, intuition, flowing, sensuality, sexuality. Usually a feminine person speaks in a way of saying, I feel good, blah. I don't like that because it makes me feel, it's a lot of feeling based. Yeah. It's all about, I don't like, you know, and that's maybe a way that you can convey your message. Like, for example, your masculine man wants to go, let's say to the movies. And you like to watch romantic films and your husband, boyfriend, partner does not. They want to see action. Well, maybe in the beginning you agreed to, okay, we'll go watch your movie because you were being intimidated. Like, I just want to be with you. You know, I want to be with you. So if that's what you want to go watch, okay.
Right.
But then there comes a point, like you said, like with the whole diet thing, that you become resentful because that's not who you are. You're going against something that's natural for you. So then you start becoming resentful, and that's bad for the relationship. So the way you could convey that message to your masculine partner in this case would be, you know what, I will go with you to see that action movie. However, I don't really like them. It makes me feel X, Y, and Z. But if that, and by you saying I will go with you because I want to be with you, that's you giving him the respect or the I don't know what you called it, but the leadership position, I guess, in that sense. But you're expressing yourself saying, but I really don't care for those movies. It doesn't make me feel, I feel unhappy, or I feel like I wasted my day.
It gives me anxiety, you know,
whatever, however you feel. So then if you're with a masculine man that cherishes your feelings because you're the woman, your feelings need to be cherished, he's going to listen to you and say, I didn't know that. Or, okay, is there another movie we can watch? And then you guys agree to watch something different.
Or, you know, okay, I'll pick the movie this time. You can pick where we're going to eat after. And then next time you pick the movie and then I'll pick after. You know, there's ways to
compromise.
There's ways to compromise, But you're right. It's getting the message across clearly to your partner or the other
versus, what the hell? I'm always going to see their movies. Why don't you ever want to see the movies that I like? I like to see it, you know? Right there. You're jumping into your masculine and you're being confrontational and you're and now he's fighting with another dude. So then that's when you jump into your masculine, and then there's no more opposite, and
or you get just upset and don't say anything, and you're just like with that face, you know. And it's like, who wants to be around somebody? You know, I don't like being upset, and why the heck would somebody like being around somebody who's upset? You know. So it's like it's very important to.
That's being passive aggressive.
Yeah, passive aggressive. It's true. It's true because it just ruins everything. It really does for you and for the other person. You know, and then slowly over time, you know, if that's your natural reaction and something that persist, that goes on each time you're going to do something, it's like, then you're not going to want to do things together anymore.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
I'm going to just avoid the situation when you could, find a way to communicate
Yeah.
why it is that it's okay. First, take a personal survey of why it does this bother me so much.
Hmm.
It's like really get to the bottom of why is this making me feel this way? And if it's something that you feel is important and legit, then okay, how can I convey this to the other person so that
Hmm.
they understand why?
Hmm. And a lot of times, what ends up happening is the reason why some women don't say anything, and they just get that sulky look and just like, okay, I won't say anything, and they just hide it within themselves, is because they're afraid that that other person's not gonna reciprocate, or they're not gonna show up for them when they're. So if I were to express myself, like in this case, you know what, I will go with you because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Or I will go with you because I want to be with you, but I don't really care for those movies because it makes me feel anxious.
Yeah.
And now, if the partner didn't reciprocate, like, okay, get over it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not that big of a deal. That right there is a masculine man that is not cherishing your feelings. So in that case, you have two options. Either you accept the situation as is. Yep. I would say if you do that long enough, it's gonna go to crap anyways, right? Because you cannot repress yourself for so long, only for so long. So, or you need to reject him, and you reject him in the way that, okay, you have all your right to think that way. However, that makes me feel unheard. So I'm not going to go. You're honoring your feelings. You're being your feminine side. That's when we come to or when we say, you don't allow yourself to be stepped all over. You just convey, you have the right to feel that way or to think that way. However, that makes me feel X, Y, and Z. So I'm not going to partake into this outing, or I'm just going to stay home instead, right. Or I'm just going to go home. If you're dating, you know what, I'm just going to go home if that's what's going to happen. So you're rejected temporarily in the hopes that eventually his masculine is going to come in and cherish you. And if he doesn't, that means that's a man that is not capable, or is not in his feelings, is not open, or has not evolved emotionally in that way. So it's best that you reject the situation or the relationship altogether, because he's never going to be able to show up unless he chooses to change that. So
yes, very true. Very true. But again, it is important for you to take self-awareness, self-assessment always. It's like, is this truly bothering me, or is there something else? Because it seems to me like, I know it was just a quick example, but I'm sure people run into this a lot. If it bothers you that much that you're going to go see an action movie, it's like, why? But there has to be something bigger involved. It's like, do you feel like, he doesn't listen to your desires or what you want? And it's like, it's not just the movie. It was also that, X, Y, and Z, yesterday, the day before, previous dates, and it's just like, this is another time where that is coming out, and you're feeling a certain way because you feel like you don't have a voice, or you feel like you're not cherished, like you said. Exactly. So, very, very, very true.
Yeah. So now on the masculine side, what does masculine energy mean? It's the giver, the protector, the one that cherishes, leadership, doing, initiation, provider, productivity, goal-directed behavior. They speak more to like, I want to X, Y, and Z, or I think this. How do you feel about it? Because they're with a feminine person. So that's what they do, or that's how they convey their message. And because if you really think about it, estrogen, now if we're getting into the like hormonal side of things, naturally women do go into the feminine because we're estrogen based, and estrogen is more feelings based. And men, and this is usually women under 50, because I don't know if you know this, but once we hit our menopause, or men over 50, we switch roles. Great. That's what I know. Great.
So I can look forward to that change.
Exactly. So there is that change to where men naturally under the age of 50, they're more testosterone based. So they have all that goal oriented and initiation, power, money, sex. That's what their focus is on. Their world is concrete, performance oriented, principles. They produce, perform, power, prestige, and a lot of times they perform the task so they can just feel good about accomplishing things. And sometimes they even do make themselves, like, I don't know, like, for example, shooting. They would just go shoot for the heck of it because I am going to hit that target. And oh my gosh, that gives them that boost because it is an accomplishment. I hit it, it's measurable, it's all that.
That's true.
So what happens is there's a role reversals once we hit menopause and men 50, and it's usually 50 and over. Women go into their masculine side and men go into their feminine side. Okay. Men start thinking about retirement, home, cooking, gardening, self, the inner self. How do I feel? Do I want to get up? Do I not want to get up? What do I want to do for the rest of my life? Women, on the other hand, they start like, okay, what can I do to make my mark in this world? What can I go to do out there? And if you really see, there's a lot of women that's when they start doing like books or opening their companies or continuing their careers, getting their master's, their bachelor's, or whatever. Because they devoted themselves for raising their family, kids, children. And then once kids are out, then they're like, okay, I can focus now on this. And it's all more centered on themselves. So that's another thing.
One more masculine quality that I found, which is funny because I would say we both fall into this: independence.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much independence you require, but I would say, if I don't feel free to even go to the store when I want to, like if I feel like suppressed in any sense to where it's like, ooh, I might not be able to go, then it bothers me. Like there have been times in my relationship where, we're using one vehicle. And I think that's where I really, really, really felt the intenseness of how I felt towards that. Because when I'm trapped, I say trapped at home. When I'm trapped at home, I feel very dependent. And I don't like feeling stuck. Like I like feeling like if there's somewhere I want to go, that's where I want to go. And that's the decision I'm making. So I would say that's where my masculine side is as well. It's like I want to always be independent, always be able to make my own decisions and not, I mean, honestly, and there's a little bit of fairness too, because I will never tell my partner, no, don't do that. If it's something he wants to do, by all means, go do it.
Yeah.
If it's something that's going to make you feel happy, go do it. So that's where the balance part comes in. It's like, yes, I need to be independent, but I also want my partner to feel independent as well and secure with being able to say, you know what, I need a boys' day, and trust that I won't get offended. Maybe if we had plans ahead of time, I might get offended. But if it's, oh yeah, like we had nothing going on, and he feels like he needs to do something, by all means, go do it. That's what you need at this moment, so go do it.
And see, and for me, independence looks differently. I mean, it's more, I mean, now with my daughter, it's like she's stuck to my hip, so I can't do anything. But
that's true.
Yeah. So, but I don't feel, even though, yes, I'm restricted to the things that I can do prior to her, but I feel good about being able to be there for her. I don't know if that's my masculine side, because that's masculine. I'm giving to her. I'm taking care of her. I'm focusing on her. And I love being a mom. And
for sure.
No, I'm not saying that you're not. Not saying that you're not. But I don't find in that context of getting up and leaving, I don't feel that doesn't bother me. I think the thing that bothers me the most, or the content of independence, is when I have to rely on my partner to take care of her in order for me to go do something for myself.
Okay.
So relying on somebody else, I guess that's where I have issues with, because, and that's one thing that I still have to work through, because I have a thing or an issue or whatever about asking for help.
Oh yeah.
And that's feel very vulnerable, and I don't like that. But
and that's funny, because as I was saying, I need to be independent. It's funny because I didn't even give a thought like whether my son would be with me or not. Of course he's going to be with me. Like, so that tells you a little bit about that as well. Now my independent means me and my son, and just
it's all
not
together. It's a package.
Yeah. So it's not my partner wouldn't be included. Like, of course I have days where, you know, maybe I'll drop him off with his grandparents, and I want my me time. But now how things have changed now that I've had a child. But I think that didn't even come to mind till you
think of one.
I automatically thought of him with me.
Yeah, because if you think of yourself, you think as a package. It's like automatically she's with me, or he's with you.
How funny.
Yep.
That's just so automatic.
Yeah. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that there's also differences, not only hormonally, there's also like biologically, women and men, brain-wise, where our makeup is very different, in the sense that we have the left and the right brain, of course, we all do, but there's this corpus callosum, I don't know if I'm saying that right or wrong, but it's a fibrous mass that connects both the left and right brain. And us women, we're able to do both at the same time because we have a thicker one of those things, corpus callosum. I think that's how it's said, or that's how it's what's it say? Pronounced. Yes, thank you. By the way, everybody, my first language is Espanol. So you'll see from time to time that I'm trying to say the word, and Davina finishes it because she knows what I'm trying to say, because I cannot come up with the word. I'm thinking of it in Spanish. It's not coming out in English.
I don't even notice it anymore, but
you're so used to it. You're so used to it.
Yeah.
But anyways, so your left brain is your thinking, verbal, actively masculine lobe. Your right is the feeling, nonverbal, receptive, feminine lobe. So we're able to do both think and feel at the same time because we have a bigger corpus callosum, versus right-handed men can only do one or the other because they have a smaller one. So they cannot think and feel at the same time. They can think, but then they have to stop thinking to then feel. So a lot of times when we're getting into like discussions and when we're disagreeing, it's like, are you kidding me? What do you mean? And they're in their thinking brain, and here you are thinking and feeling. It's like, and you're like, they're so cold. They're not responding to my feelings. That's because they're not in their feelings, because they're in their thinking brain. So they have to stop thinking in order to feel. And if they're feeling, they have to stop feeling in order to think. So when you say, what do you think about this situation I just gave you? You literally, they're going to be like looking at you like, what the hell did you just say? Because you could see them trying to process the information in their thinking brain. And then you say, what do you feel? I haven't even been to that side yet, because they're still in their thinking brain. So you need to give them time, and time, who knows? Time to finish their thinking, and then go into their feelings, and then give them like, you know what, can I come back and we touch on this subject tomorrow morning? That way you give them time to do that, and then they're more able to tell you, okay, I think this, or I feel this, So for you out there, that's the reason why. Now, men that are left-handed are just like women in the sense that that's how their brain is structured. They have a thicker corpus callosum, and they can do both at the same time. So left-handed men are more able to be in tune, and I don't want to say they are, but they're usually more seen as feminine energy because they're able to do both at the same time.
And that's funny that you mentioned that because my brother is left-handed. I mean, I don't want to call him out. So this person I know is left-handed. But I always attributed it to him growing up around 5 sisters. So he has 5 sisters. He's the only boy. Again, giving it away. Sorry, brother. But I would say, and I think he would agree too, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's not a bad thing, but I would say he is able to be more emotional or express his emotional state 100% versus other people that I have encountered. Even I would say there are even some women who I would say have more trouble tapping into that than this person. So that's interesting. So not only was he raised around 5 girls or women now, but he's also left-handed, so he's able to tap into
and he's able to relate. So and like you said, it doesn't mean that he is wrong or there's bad or whatever. It just means he's able to tap into both worlds. I call them, because there is 2 worlds at the same time. So he's able to judge the situation and feel the situation quickly. And
the funny thing is, sorry, just very quickly before I lose the thought, he's not feminine at all. I wouldn't say you would look at him and say he's a feminine man. He embodies a male persona, but he's just able to tap into his emotional state.
And I can tell you, in my family, we have 2 boys, and we're a bunch of girls. And no, it doesn't. I mean, one of my brothers, I think now is more able to do that. And the other one, I don't think he is that much, honestly. I mean, we've never had like a deep conversation in that way to be able to tell if yes or no, but I know my older brother, I am able to have these conversations now, and he's more open to those things. But at one point I can say that, no, they so yeah, left-handed does, it's true. It helps, or it does work that way.
That's a big, I would say an extra, like an upper hand for a male.
Yeah, definitely.
Left-handed, because, I think that's like a hidden superpower or something. I don't know. That's how it comes across to me.
Like, if you really think about it, it's like, it is, because in a way you're able to navigate, or maybe, I mean, maybe women is still mysterious to those men because we still are very different, but you're able to react to the situation on hand faster.
And I mean, it is important to note as well that different parts of the world, different countries have different meanings or I would say like guidelines or boundaries for what is considered feminine and masculine. So, we're speaking generally of the U.S. and I think, or Western, we'll say. Western, right? Yeah, Western. And I think it's even changing a bit as time goes on. I think, if we have the same conversation 20 years from now, I'm sure it will be different. I mean, not the biological stuff, but we're evolving. We're, everybody's becoming more aware and self-aware. And I think it's pushing those norms a bit.
Yeah. Yes. Another thing is that, and I don't know, I have, I feel a certain way about this. I don't know where I land in this topic specifically. It's saying if you do choose to be female energy, feminine energy, you do not ask your masculine man, for better or more love, time, affection, or sex. Okay. You may ask for all things you want, more like material, houses, cars, because masculine is giving things. But in the area of love, time, affection, and sex, you must wait patiently for the best offer. And then once it comes, you either have the choice to say yes or no, based on your feelings. If you get impatient and you go to your masculine man and ask for these things, then you're jumping into your masculine man and you're asking your masculine man to go into his feminine side.
I'm thinking, I mean, I don't know why I automatically went to the sex part, but it's like, it's true. If you think about it, it's true. It's like you go to your partner and you're like, I need sex. It's, you are being the pursuer.
Initiator.
Yeah, the initiator. And then, or, you know, it's probably not that intense, but that's the scene that went through my mind. But okay.
So then it says, if you do that, you're asking them to become it, or your little boy. You become the mom, because and it says, and unfortunately he will resent to you for it because he doesn't want to fight with you, so he will agree with you and will become passive aggressive, and saying yes, but then whatever he gives, being sex, being love, being time, but he's gonna do a shitty like just give you here you go, just to appease you, you know. But he's gonna give you less of what he would have given you if you wouldn't have said anything to begin with. So that's a passive aggressive response to you asking for things. You know what I mean? But and she says if a man does not meet your requirements in the area of affection and love, reject it temporarily, where you say, I feel this certain way. Like, you know what, honey, I've noticed that you have not been so affectionate lately. Am I right? Based on what he says, yes or no. And then, because I've been feeling blah, blah, blah. I feel like you're distant or whatever. And then he's going to tell you, oh, it's because I've been stressed. I have this project at work, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you leave him alone. You're happy. You focus on your energy. You hone in onto your feminine energy. You go do your girl stuff with your friends and your sisters or whoever, you know, and then until he can come back, you know. But I don't know how I feel about that you just sit back and wait, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a challenge with that. I mean, I understand what she's saying. And I mean, it doesn't mean, I mean, this is just the thoughts and feelings of this specific person, you know what I mean? This doctor. I mean, there's a ton of information out there, but this specific because if you start thinking about it, because giving is giving a masculine or a feminine thing. It's actually a masculine. But if I sit here and I start thinking of everything that I see in my family, in my circle, I see women giving more than men. You know what I mean? But if giving is masculine and we're supposed to sit back and be received, like wait to be, so is it possible that it's a cultural thing? Is it a society thing? Is this because if you, I don't know, like in my life that does not match. Yeah. I know. So that's
very interesting. Sorry, I'm thinking. I'm soaking in all of that information because you're right. It's like the way it sounds very like, oh, take what he'll give you. Like,
exactly.
No. And I think so.
Where
there's a better way to explain that, or maybe there's a better way that will register in my brain where it's not like, okay, accept whatever he'll give you and just be quiet. But maybe it is because that's my masculine sign coming out now. It's like, wait for him to decide that, you know, he wants to give you something or respond to whatever request it may be. And then, but until then, just wait there and accept what he'll give you. It's like, but the way I'm thinking about it is, you know, I like being hugged, okay? And I know every now and then I try to get into the habit of being more affectionate, I guess you could say. So every now and then, especially if it was a hard day, if I pass by my partner, I'm like, can I have a hug? You know, I feel like I need a hug. Like, I'll say that. Which I feel like I need a hug is being more emotional. I don't know.
And that's feminine. Yeah, you're asking for it. So you're more
and you know, he'll give me a hug, but it doesn't seem like the hugs he gives when he's initiating a hug, me not asking for it. So that's kind of how I'm processing it in my head. It's like when he's initiating it, it's like an actual true hug with feeling because he wanted to give it.
Right.
Versus, I'm not saying that he didn't hug me. Like I just noticed the difference in the two hugs.
Yeah. And the energy behind the hugs.
Yeah.
So
how interesting.
Yeah. And then last point that I wanted to make here is so there's something called the Peter Pan syndrome. I don't know if you've ever heard of this before. Have you?
I have, but I can't remember the exact.
So there is a theory out there that women, and it goes back, the reason why we feel like giving is a feminine thing to do, because usually they say that it's because us as women, we either were raised by in our family, for example, a father that was very female in the sense that he wanted his feelings to be taken care of, cherished, and all that stuff before his own, and before his wife and his daughters. So he wanted to be catered to, in other words, you know what I mean? Before him catering to wife and daughters specifically. So when that happens, women or girls that grow up in that kind of environment, they don't know how to grow up being self-loving. So they lack self-love. Me too.
I connect that 100%.
So they said if you grow up in a I don't know what they call it, but in a normal environment, let's say, for lack of a better word, you will learn to love yourself first before loving others. So you're going to know how to self-love.
Which makes sense because the father figure is teaching you how to love yourself or what standards you should have for yourself versus, it's all about me,
So then they say, if you have a child that's 5 years and older, you mom need to learn to step back and become selfless again. It's first you, then the kids. When mom stays in the selfish. Okay. If mom stays in the doing for you mode, that's selfless. Yeah, selfless mode.
Yeah.
Then it's teaching the child. One, it's teaching the girl kid that she is always having to give in order to receive love. So you always have to be giving. You always have to be doing.
Makes sense.
Boy, child, above 5, if you keep mom doing everything for them, there's certain things that you will still do for them because they're still young, but there's certain things that they can do, If you always keep on doing those things for the boy child, then you raise them to be narcissistic little boys, eventually narcissistic men, because they're used to being given everything. They don't have the ability to love, protect, cherish, give back, or assume responsibility because everything has been handed to them.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So a Peter Pan man expects his women or woman to take better care of him than herself. He will get her to make the dinner, theater, reservations, loan him money, pick him up for a date, or pick out his mother's gift because he's too busy to do it himself. So if you don't want to have that type of relationship or that Peter Pan of a man, then you need to learn how to say no unless you want to become a mother to him. That's like a mother.
Yeah.
His mother was doing for him when he was little. So that's why they say that giving is it's not a feminine, it's a masculine thing because it's an action. But that's where I'm saying that I don't know. I don't know. I have to think about it more. I have to see how it falls into my life.
Yeah.
Because that's where social environment, or my my heritage, where I come from, is it that's being influenced, or is it truly because it's this other stuff? I don't know.
Yeah. And I just got all I could focus on was this vision that I got of a Peter Pan male going to, couples therapy with their partner who is demanding more or now wanting more.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to be in those counseling sessions, therapy sessions. Like when the therapist is telling him, like, you have this Peter Pan syndrome, like whatever it is. And boy, what a session that would be for him.
I wonder if that person would even realize it and like accept it, or if they're gonna just stay stuck in that mindset and be like, whatever.
I think it would be 50-50 depending on their openness.
It's true.
Because it's not saying that you have to stay stuck in your situation. If you're a conscious person who really desires to be the best you can be, you're going to be open to possible changes, even if it's something that is hard for you to really grasp. You'll keep trying because you want to be a better person. And I know it is very hard to come to terms with what your issues are, because it feels like you're bashing yourself, or you're less than, or you're not a good person, or it does bring on those types of feelings. But honestly, you can either stay the way you don't want to be anymore, or you can take the steps to become or end up where you want to be and who you want to be. So it's worth the work, it's worth the effort, but I know it's hard to get started. So don't bash yourself too much. And it doesn't call for you to become, depressed about it or overly upset about it. It's just, okay, here's some information. This is how I feel about it. This is what I would like to change about myself. And what do I do to get to where I want to go? And it works for both people in the relationship. 100%. If one person wants to, change and evolve, and the other person doesn't, that may or may not cause complications, because if you have one person working on themselves, it's guaranteed that they're going to become more self-aware and maybe even acquire different qualities, so in essence, maybe they'll be a different type of person or end up different than they were when they first started. And maybe that person, and the other person in the relationship who doesn't want to change, maybe they're not compatible anymore.
Exactly.
With the new you.
Exactly.
So it's just being aware, and honestly, like I say, it's not saying one person's better than the other person. It's just, if like you said, it's either you take it or you leave it. Like if this person can't give you what you need, then you leave it. It's not saying they're a bad person. It's just maybe there's a different type of personality that would mesh better with them.
Exactly. And I mean, everything that we say in these podcasts and everything that we reference, I mean, there's other people like John Gray is another one. Carol Allen is another one. She's a relationship. It's Vedic astrologer, and she taps into relationships and stuff like that. Yeah. So there's a ton of information out there. Those are the three people that I've actually worked for Tao. There's a ton of information out there where you can get this. And I mean, somebody once said that Carrie Samuels, actually somebody that I follow and I love.
Yeah, she's great.
She said, whatever might resonate or match with your vibe, your own soul, that's what matches with me. However, for you, it might be somebody different. Maybe this Dr. Pat Allen is not even somebody that you care for, but the bottom line, like, we're just trying to bring awareness to the possibilities out there. Now, it is on your court, like Davina said, where it's up to you to either take it or leave it, and or take that time to work and grow and change if that's something you want to do.
Right. There's no right or wrong.
No.
Unless there's abuse. If there's abuse in your relationship, definitely you want to take steps to getting out of that relationship. That's one thing that you should not you should not accept in your relationship.
I agree.
Yeah.
There's no reason. There's never a good reason or any reason for abuse at all.
No.
That being verbal, physical, emotional, nope.
Right. Okay. So that was interesting. I know it left us with a lot of questions as well, but you know, we'll revisit it over time. It's just, we thought this was an interesting topic to bring up, especially since the first podcast it was brought up, and we're like, oh, we must get into this a little more. So, Erica, if you'd be so kind to pull one of your angel cards, please.
Okay, and I did. When we do our meditation, that's when I'm pulling it, just to get the vibe of the call or the podcast. And what I got was the page of Earth. And I got her upside down. And what that means is that when it's upside down, it's even more of a reason to pay attention or really focus on this. Okay. And what it says is, good news about financial matters, wanting to do something more challenging, a new area of study. And I'll put this up here. I don't know if you could see it.
Pull it back just a little. Right. Oh. It's like coming in and out.
Okay.
Yeah, right there. Perfect.
There it is.
Page for her. Wow.
Yes. And the situations. Good news about financial matters is coming soon. Your plans move successfully forward at a steady pace. You may adopt a new interest or passion. People. A youth who's a student or who enjoys studying, someone who can be optimistic but still realistic about what can be accomplished, successful, dependable, patient, frugal, trustworthy. Additional meanings of this card: doing your research. That's funny for us. Wisdom beyond one's years, a return to school, materialism. That's what this says. So a lot of learning, it seems like it is.
Yeah. Okay, well that's good. That means, you know, if anybody out there is waiting for, you know, an answer about some financial situation they may be in, it looks positive.
Yes. So that concludes our podcast for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and many blessings to everybody. Let your mind be open, embrace change, and keep growing.